Hi everyone. All right, we're gonna get started and we'll start with a little bit of a meditation again. So if you haven't been here for our videos, usually we start with some sort of breath practice to help us calm down a little bit. So we're gonna start, and I'm gonna start seated like this. If you wanna start lying down, or if you wanna come into child's pose, which is coming on your knees and coming back like this. So you can pick what you want to do and how you want to start. And it doesn't really matter. We're all just trying to find some stillness. So once you find a spot where you're comfortable, try to see if you can just let your body relax. And if it's comfortable too, closing your eyes. And like I normally do, I'm gonna put one hand up to my chest or my heart and the other one on my belly. And I'm putting my hands in these specific spots because when I take a deep breath in, I can feel my chest and my belly expand. And then when I take a breath out, I can feel myself deflate a little bit more, like I'm shrinking. And wherever you are, we're going to see if we can try to control our breathing a little more this morning. So to do that, we're going to find some balance in our breath. So our inhale, which is breathing in through your nose, and then your exhale, which is also breathing out through your nose. We want to see if we can keep the same length in that breath. So I'm going to count for 3 seconds breathing in, and then I'm going to pause at the top, and then I'm going to count 3 seconds breathing out, and then I'm going to pause at the bottom. So we're just going to do that to see if we can try to create some balance in our breath. So when you're ready, let's breathe in, 1, 2, 3, and then pause, and then let it out, 1, 2, 3, and then pause. 1, 2, 3. Pause, and then exhale, breathe out, 1, 2, 3. So you can keep doing that breathing. So trying to see if you can count in your head, maybe 3 seconds, and then breathing out for the same amount. And if 3 seconds felt like that was pretty easy and you have more breath, then you can expand that. So you can count even longer, breathing in for a longer amount of seconds. So maybe even 4 seconds, and then breathing out for 4 seconds as well. And if that's not comfortable for you, then you can just keep breathing how you normally do. You don't have to count your seconds. Maybe you're just noticing your chest expand and your ribs expand, sides of the ribs, even the back if you're in child's pose when you breathe in, and then feeling like a balloon deflating as you breathe out. And when you're ready, we can come back up to seated and you can open your eyes. Okay, so that was a little bit of that breath work, or you could call it meditation too. And you can always do that whenever you feel like you just want to relax a little bit. So today, what did we work on last week? We did some warriors. So I was thinking, actually we also did, what did we do? We did tree pose and we did bird of paradise. So those were all standing poses on one foot. So I thought we could add on to that a little bit more, and we'll do 2 other kinds of balancing poses on our feet. And one of them is called half moon. And half moon is kind of like warrior 3, but instead of squaring the hips, we're gonna open them. So I'll show you what that looks like. So first, if you did see last week's practice, then why don't you try to show me your warrior 3, see if you can remember how to get there, and then I'll come back and do it with you. So warrior 3, if you remember, you have one leg standing Make sure I'm back enough. And then this back leg is gonna come right back and the hands can start to come out. So your warrior three, you're nice and long. And your toes, the back of your toes are facing down so that back foot's nice and flexed. Oh, I'm falling. All right. So that back foot's nice and flexed with the toes facing down and the hands are coming out in front of you. And that was our warrior three. I'm gonna see if you can see my whole body do it, but. So here you are. And then we'll come back down. So that's warrior three, and that's a balancing pose that you would do on one foot. And there's also something called Halfmoon Pose, which is very similar to warrior three. So I'll show you close up first, and then I'll show you farther away. So in warrior three, put my foot here. On warrior three, the hips are coming down, and your hands are coming out. But on half moon, you're opening the hips up, and you're opening the hands, and that back foot, the toes are facing out. So let's see if we can get into that. And to start, we'll start in a lunge, and then we'll move forward. So let's come back to your, if you have a mat or a rug. I'm gonna start with one foot forward. All right. And I'm gonna come into a lunge here, so my front knee is nice and bent and my back foot's planted. And then from here, we'll stretch out a little bit in the hips. I'm gonna lift my hands. You might remember this is called warrior one. From here, I'm gonna lift my back heel up. My back heel is coming up. And you might remember too, now this is crescent. So I'm gonna make my way to half moon. I'm gonna start to shift the weight forward. That back leg is gonna come up. And now I'm in warrior three. So remember, to make it half moon, I'm gonna lift this hip up. And that foot's starting to shift, and this top hand can come up. The bottom can come up, and you can lift the gaze looking up. If you want, you can also hang onto a couch. But remember, warrior three, hips are down, and then half moon, the hips are open. So warrior three, half moon. Do you see the difference? Hips are coming down, like I'm facing down. Half moon, I'm open. My chest is open, I'm looking out towards you. Okay. So there's a little bit of a difference. We're still balancing, but we're just shifting from looking down to opening up. So why don't we do that on the other side? So come back into a lunge. I had this foot forward last time. So now I'm going to switch, and I'm just gonna turn my body so you can still see me. So lunge right here, that knee's bent. And I'm gonna start to shift, lift that heel up. Lift my hands, so I'm in a crescent. Now I'm going to start to shift forward to my warrior three. Now let's open up, half moon. So my toes are nice and flexed, my toes are facing out, my belly is open, everything is nice and open right here. So I'm not closed off. Opening up, half moon. All right. And when you're ready, you can come back down. So that's half moon. And you can play around with which one you like better, warrior three facing down or opening to your half moon. So that's another balancing pose. And then another one that we have is called eagle pose. And eagle pose is kind of similar to a tree pose. So let's start in tree pose first, and then we'll move on and add and try to get into our eagle pose. All right, so tree, if you remember, you're standing on one leg is all the way on the ground, the foot's on the ground, and then the opposite leg can start to come up. Now remember, when that back heel is up, it's called a kickstand. So you can stay like this in your tree, or you can start to lift the leg. So find your tree, and remember the hands can stay together, or you can lift them, reaching them up like tall branches. You can move your hands like branches. And then when you're ready, we'll come back down. All right, so let's switch sides. So tree on the other side. So straighten that other leg with that foot on the ground. We'll kickstand the opposite leg. Maybe you lift it. And the hands can come out. Keep breathing. In your tree. And then when you're ready, we'll come back down. So that's tree pose. And now we're going to work on eagle pose. And eagle pose is funny because there's a lot of twisting that's involved, even though we're standing up straight. So we're going to have our hands twisted, and we're also going to have our legs twisted while standing on one foot. So we'll start off standing like you would in tree before we even get there, standing on your feet. And let's pick a leg to use. So I'm gonna stand with my right leg on the ground, and this one will be coming up. And what you can do is you'll take this leg with the knee bent, and you're gonna start to cross it over to the other side. And if this is tricky, you can put that other foot on the ground. So you can go and move it like this, or if you have that balance, you can lift that leg, okay? And the other part of this to make it eagle pose is the hands are gonna be twisted too. So if we're lifting this leg, then on the same side, this one's going to go on the bottom. So I'm gonna go like this, watch my hands. I'm gonna put one underneath the elbow and then up. And maybe, when you do this, maybe the hands can kind of come together, just barely touch. If they don't, you can just go like this, that's fine. But eventually the hands are just barely touching. So this hand coming on the bottom, this foot, this leg is coming over this leg. Ready? All right, so I'm gonna take this leg, I'm gonna cross it over. I'm gonna take my hands, my elbows are bent. This hand's coming underneath and over. See if I can clasp the hands. If not, then letting go. All right, so here I am, and I'm gonna see now if I can start to lift this leg up, just carefully while balancing. And to keep going, to add on to our eagle, we're going to start to bend that standing knee. See if we can squat down like you're sitting in a chair. Okay. You don't have to go super low, and if you want, you can keep that foot on the ground. But I'm gonna start to squat down a little bit. And as I come down sitting in this pretend chair, I'm gonna see if I can reach my hands up. This is your eagle. All right, we'll come up and out. And I'll show you on the other side next, and you can see what it looks like. So it's really tricky because you're standing on one foot, you're twisting your arms and your legs, and you're lastly going to pretend to be sitting in a chair. So you're gonna start to bend the knees like you're pretend sitting in an invisible chair. So let's try that again. I'm gonna switch sides this time. And I'll come to the side so you can see how I sit down for eagle. So I'm gonna take, what leg did I do? I'm gonna take this leg, so try your opposite leg, cross it over, and then you're gonna take the same hand, so this side is gonna come under. All right, so I've crossed my hands, my legs are crossed, and remember that foot can be on the ground, or you can lift it up. And I'm gonna stay here, or I'm gonna find that pretend chair, that invisible chair, see if you can sit down and reach the hands up. So this is your eagle. Breathing. And when you're ready, we'll come back up, untwist, and you can shake it off. Okay, so eagle pose and half moon. Those are the two poses that we worked on today. And you can try those at home. And you can always use a couch, or if you have like a wall, you can always put your hand on the wall to help you balance and see if you can try to let go of the wall. So that's something that I always do. All right, so let's end this video with lion's breath. So I'm gonna come, so find your lion and sit on your ankles like this, or you can open the knees and put your hands on the ground like a crouching lion. And remember lion's pose, breathing in through your nose, but letting out out of your mouth with your tongue sticking out and your eyes looking up. Okay? So I'm gonna put my hands on the ground, I'm gonna spread my fingertips, reach my shoulders back, pretend that you're a lion. Now take a deep breath in, and then let it out. We'll do this 2 more times. Deep breath in, and let it out. 1 more lion's breath. Deep breath in, fill all the way up with air, and let your tongue out. Okay, so there's our lion's breath too. So you can work on those poses if you like, your eagle pose or your half moon. So you can try out both of those and let me know what you enjoy. And I will see you on Friday at 1:30, okay? We'll do a little bit yoga, a few more new poses, okay? I'll see you then. Bye, everyone.